Good day, everybody. This is Chester Bolingbrook, the CRPG Addict, and today we are going to take a look at the very first computer role-playing game, at least the first that we know about, but very well may be the absolute first, The Dungeon. It's more commonly referred to online by its file name, pedit5, and we'll get into that in just a second. But it was programmed in 1975 by Reginald Rutherford, who also has the nickname Rusty. Reginald Rusty Rutherford. Now, how do we know that it is the first computer role-playing game? Well, we don't for sure, but there wasn't a lot of room for anything else to be first, because Dungeons & Dragons, the first role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game, was published in 1974, mere months before work began on what ultimately became The Dungeon. This was before the age of the microcomputer, so people generally did not have anything like a computer at home, and so the only place you could have seen a computer role-playing game created that would have been based on the same sorts of rules as Dungeons & Dragons was at a place that had a mainframe computer system. And one such place was the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where for years, since 1960, they had hosted a mainframe system called Programmed Logic for Automated Teaching Operations, or Plato. This was a very powerful, very popular system, and students, of course, were supposed to use it for educational exercises, but many of them took the opportunity to write games using lesson spaces that were supposed to be reserved for legitimate educational purposes, which is why so many of the file names are a bit arcane. This is a reasonably exhaustive list of the computer role-playing games that were written for the system. As of the date I'm recording this, I have covered all of them that still existed to be covered. There was some talk for a long time. You'll still find some things online that suggest that a game called M199H was in fact the first computer role-playing game, and it predated The Dungeon, but my research has shown that it was actually a later game, and its proper name is Dungeon, but it was probably from 1976, and it in fact was largely a copy of Reginald Rutherford's The Dungeon. So for the best that we know, The Dungeon is the earliest computer role-playing game. As I said, it had the file name of pedit5 because the computer space, the disk space on which it was created, was assigned to the population and energy group at the university that had the prefix of PE. And it was really common for students, of course, to create their games using names that a casual observer looking through the directories wouldn't realize that it was a game. Because a lot of early games just got deleted by system operators who were, thought that the space was supposed to be for educational lessons. Now, at some point, that thinking must have changed. Probably those system administrators realized that, hey, the kids are at least learning something by programming these games, or the games just got so popular, maybe the administrators themselves enjoyed playing them, that they decided to let them stay. So as time goes on, we don't have that problem anymore, and most of the file names actually represent the names of the actual game. Now, the story that, as I've heard it told from Rutherford, not directly to me, but on Matt Barton's blog and a few other locations, is that the second game on this list, the game of Dungeons, which had the file name of D&D, got started earlier, so that people started programming it earlier, but it became immediately apparent it was going to take a long time to finish that one, and so Rutherford created pedit5, the Dungeon, in a shorter time frame, and got it out first. Now, it was deleted fairly quickly, and Orthanc, which came along later in 1975, was an attempt to recreate it. Somehow the code survived, though. It must have been printed out or something, and somebody kept it somewhere. So what happened is Plato was deprecated, finally, in the late 1980s, maybe around 1990. It might have actually been in the 90s. and taken offline. By that time, it had gone through a couple of commercial versions, and there were a lot of people that liked it, that wanted to maintain and preserve the lessons. So this organization called Cyber One recreated it basically online, and this is the form where you can go and fill out your information to get an account, so you can access these games and all the other lessons. I don't know how many people sign in nowadays just to mess around with any of the educational lessons. They probably just play the games. But you can sign in and get your own account and give these things a try for yourself. So with that background, let's go ahead and launch the terminal emulator and get into Cyber One. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish the story. So at some point, somebody took the copy of the code that existed after Cyber One went online and then retyped it all in there and recreated the game as it originally existed. All right, so here we are at the login screen in Cyber One, and I'm typing in pedit5 for the lesson that I want to play. Here's the welcome screen, and again, I think this is all original except for the box here that basically tells us that everything we're about to see is original. Incidentally, by the way, I'm using some settings in my terminal emulation that make the text white. Plato very famously had orange text. One of the well-known book about Plato is called The Friendly Orange Glow, but I find it a bit garish, so I've replaced it with white text. But a purist would want to play this with the original orange text. So we'll get into the help file here. All of the Plato games are quite famous for having very extensive help files, and quite rightly so. They're all very, very well documented, and pedit5, or the dungeon, is not an exception to that. So we get a little bit of a framing story here. It's the year 666, and we're in the country of Caer near the town of Mersad, and we're going to be exploring the ruined castle of Raimthing. All of these, of course, are acronyms for romance, dreams, and nightmare. But beneath the dungeons of Raimthing, we have a maze of corridors, horrid monsters, piles of treasure. We are a treasure seeker, and our goal is to go in there and amass enough in kills and experience so that we can retire at 20,000 experience points. And the game will, in fact, enforce us to do that. Once we've crossed that threshold, the next time we leave the dungeon, we will have to retire. So you don't get an option. So we've got a variety of ways to defeat the monsters with our sword and with spells. And it's within the spells in particular that you can see some influence of tabletop Dungeons and Dragons. In particular, the Greyhawk supplement to the original D&D rules. So the original D&D rule sets, the 3 books came out in 1974. By 1975, early 1975, they had created a campaign setting called Greyhawk, and they published what was called a Greyhawk supplement. And that supplement is where we get these specific spell names and effects from. Now, Rutherford didn't have time, he didn't quite get time to program all of the spells. So, for instance, light and invisibility and continual light, I don't believe any of those actually work. When we get into the descriptions, the ones that don't work are annotated with asterisks. And he intended to go back and later on and program some effects for some of these spells, but he didn't really get a chance to do that. He had other ideas for future improvements, and as a note says here at the bottom of this screen, those ideas were later taken and implemented in Orthanc, which builds upon the dungeon, but Rutherford never really had a chance to go back and finish what he started. It's still a very playable game. It's just there are some instructions there that won't do us any good. Anyway, let's get right into the game. This is a list of current people playing it. A couple of them are doing quite well. Neuro is on a threshold of collecting, of retiring, basically. So we're going to create a new character with Control L. And you can see the attributes here, again, drawn directly from Dungeons and Dragons. Strength, intelligence, constitution, dexterity. He, presumably because of the gameplay, couldn't think of a role for wisdom and charisma. So there isn't, I'm going to go back and then do it again and try for a new character. But it's not really worth doing this a lot. It's certainly not worth holding out for like 18s or something in the although I did get one. I guess I'll play this character. But it's not really worth it because the character is not likely to live very long. So, if you sat here and re-rolled and re-rolled and re-rolled until you had 15 or above and everything, you'd have a powerful character who still probably would die quite quickly. So we're going to name him. A secret name is like a password, so other people can't play your character. I don't think he'll be around long enough, but I will enter the dungeon. So here we are at the entrance. Now we can leave anytime we want, and that will save the game and store our progress. But every time we re-enter, basically the game deletes the saved character. So if we die, it's permanent. There's no save and reload in this game. So you can see to my left there, I've detected a secret door. That only happens a fraction of the time. If you know it's there, you can still try to open it, but it only detects it rarely. But here I've been lucky enough, so let's go ahead and open that door. I'm going to bash it, and I have encountered a level 3 giant ant. And I will defeat that giant ant. I'm quite confident that I will with a sleep spell. It worked, so I can just kill it. And there were 500 silver pieces in the chest. That isn't bad. And what I'm going to do is immediately... Oh, I got ambushed in the corridor. That can happen. So I've been ambushed in the corridor. I don't have any spells left. You only have one spell, one mage spell, when you first start the game. And not having any spells left, fighting is a very dangerous thing to do. You want to avoid ever hitting F. You want to kill every enemy with spells if you can. So it's going to be really risky here to hit fight, but it will also be risky to run. Probably about equally risky. So I don't know. I guess I'll fight and probably die, but let's see. No, I managed to kill it. That doesn't happen all that often when you hit fight. So now I want to save my progress, and I'm going to exit. Because, as I say, a character who does not have any spell slots available is a character whose life left in the world is swiftly depleting. Apparently I cannot do this at the same time, talk at the same time. So the moment that level 1 character uses his one spell, you want to get the hell out of the dungeon, restore your hit points, restore your spell slots, and go back in. And so that's what I've done. So you spend a lot of time near the entrance, basically, at the beginning of the game. Now, there are 2 types of territory in this game. There's rooms and corridors. So I'm in a corridor right now. Corridors never have treasure. You just occasionally encounter an enemy in the corridor. So you want to spend most of your time busting down these doors and heading into rooms where, not this time, but there is a chance of encountering a treasure chest, sometimes with an enemy guarding it, sometimes just by itself. Yes, trying to open the doors can fail, and every time it does, there's a chance that you'll face an enemy. Here's a level 1 skeleton. I guess I'll just try to fight him. And I managed to kill him. Level 1, they're not too bad. So since I didn't spend a spell, I don't feel like I have to flee. Here's a level 3 orc. I'm definitely not going to try to fight him. I'm going to give him a sleep spell and kill him. And, but now that I've expended my spell, I don't want to spend any more time in the dungeon, so I'm going to leave like a coward. But you have to be a bit of a coward in order to get anywhere in this game. and then re-enter. Oops. With my my spell intact. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna pause it at this point, and I'm gonna come back when I have anything new to report. Okay, I'm back. The character has not died yet, which is pretty rare. And I've encountered a level 3 man guarding a treasure chest in this room. So I might as well start to get into some of the rules of combat, even though I'm still only have one spell, so I can't really implement all of them. But basically, one of the things you learn from the instructions, actually, it's right there in the instructions, but you'll also learn it through experience. First of all, as I said, you don't want to hit F. You don't want to fight unless it's all there is left, basically, or unless the enemy is like level 1 and you're higher than that. You always want to try to defeat your enemies with spells if possible. And one of the things that reliably works, here I am with my level 1, my spells. I don't have level 2 yet, so I can only cast level 1. Sleep always works against any level 4 enemy or lower who is not undead. So if it's a mortal enemy, level 4 or lower, sleep inevitably works. You always want to cast that on an enemy that low. I kill him. Now the treasure is only 100 silver pieces, so that's not very good. That's not very much. I was really hoping for a much bigger treasure haul from that treasure chest, because that's really how you get ahead in this game. Now I have 840 experience, and most of that has been through kills. Most of the time, it's inverted. You get most of your experience from money, but I haven't found much money in this game so far. I know there's a secret door here, so I'm trying to bash it. And what you really want, is the enemy. Now, I was just stupid because I'm out of spells and I continued to explore. But fortunately, the skeleton's only level 1, and he's guarding a chest, so I'll probably be able to defeat him with a fight. Let's see. Yeah, he's gone. Oh, and the treasure's a magic sword. That's the one item upgrade you can get in this game. Is to get a magic sword, and I usually don't get it so early in the game. So I definitely want to pick that up, and I definitely want to now save my progress. So let's hope that I don't encounter anything on the way back. Oh, there we go. Level 4 giant weasel, and here I am with no spells left. I have my magic sword, but my magic sword isn't going to help me against a level 4 giant weasel when I'm only level 1. So what I'm going to try to do is run, and it almost certainly isn't going to work. So if I had my sleep spell, that would be great. I could defeat him that way, but I don't. So I'm going to try to run. No luck. Press next to fight, and here we're probably going to see a death message. Yep, there we go. So notice that you're fighting. You don't get to see the round by round. You just I think there are multiple rounds going on, but you just find the result. So damn, I had that sword. That was pretty cool, but now I got to start all over again with a new character. But that is what happens in this game. Now here we are, a couple of characters later. There's my statistics for this guy. I have not encountered a single enemy yet, and I have not encountered, until now, I have not found any treasure. And the first room I tried to open, this is what every player is hoping for with a new character. The very first room that I opened, I found a piece of jewelry in a treasure chest. Now, gems and jewelry are worth a lot more than simple gold and silver. And so I'm going to pick that up, and let's check out how much it's worth. 1,000. Now, that's not great. It could have been a lot better than that. But immediately, I'm going to get 1,000 experience points the moment I leave and go back in. So that's what every player is hoping for, that they're going to find an early treasure chest that will give them a lot of money. I've had as many as, I think, 20, not 20,000, 5,000 maybe, in a single treasure chest, immediately jumping me up to a higher level. You don't see your level number here, but you can tell what level you are basically by how many spell slots you have. So that 1,000 didn't even jump me up to level 2, but it got me a decent percentage of the way there. If I had tried to do that by just fighting enemies, I would have had to kill like 50 enemies to get that many experience points. So that was a good piece of luck there. Let's see if I can continue that with this character. You're not going to believe this, but the literal the second room that I opened also had no guardian and a piece of jewelry. So I have gotten very, very lucky with this character. And that piece of jewelry is worth 4,000 experience points. So I want to now hope that I can get back to the entrance without dying. And I made it. And now when I re-enter the dungeon, you can see I now have 3 mage spells and 2 cleric spells. So I gained like 4 levels from that one piece of jewelry and that one chest. And I'm 25% of the way to my overall goal. That was a really, really nice piece of luck early in the game. Now you may be wondering about the map itself. And so the dungeons that I'm exploring, as I said, they're corridors and rooms. But once you've cleared a room, once a particular character has cleared a room, you're never going to find anything in that room again, except for maybe a random encounter. But there's not going to be any more treasure. So, oh shoot. All right. So while I was exploring, I ran into a level 6 man. Oh, that's okay. But that's right. I'm doing pretty well for myself. All right. Now, a level 6 man is not going to respond to sleep, and he's not going to respond to charm either. Actually, he's not going to respond to. He might respond to hold. Did I have any? I don't have second level cleric spells though. Yeah, if you want to hold any mortal creature that is above level 4, if you have it. I don't have it. I should have protection going right now, and I didn't turn it on. It's been a while since I was at this level, and I forgot the rules. So there really isn't any guaranteed way to get out of this. I'm just going to try to run. No luck, and there he goes. Again, the vagaries of this game. And now I'm starting over again with a new character. And so what I was about to say about rooms doesn't apply, because now with a new character, all of the rooms have been reset, all of them have been reseated, and I can start over with the rooms that are fairly close to the beginning of the game. I guess he's not bad. Alright, I'll be back when I have something new to tell you about this character. Alright, now we're into it. This is about 25 characters later. Some of whom I got up to around 10,000 experience, but they were killed. But this guy's got 12,000, so he's well over halfway there. But the problem is, I have to go further and further away from the entrance every time I set out into the dungeon. This is what the dungeon looks like. It's, I think, 29 by 29 squares. And this map was... I didn't make this map. This map was made by my colleague, my fellow blogger, Nathan Maney at CRPG Adventures. There's the URL there. I encourage you to visit his blog. He did a really good job documenting the Plato games. He won them before I did. He won a couple that I still haven't won yet. Anyway, he made this map, and so from where I am now, I've already gone through this section and explored all of these rooms, and you can't get to these up here until you've gone all the way around. So I've explored all those, and I've explored all the near ones. I've done all the ones up here, and all the near ones over here. And so I've got to be getting up into roughly here right now in order to find new treasures. Now, at the level that I am, I have 4 level 1 mage spells, 2 level 2s, 4 level 2, 4 cleric spells, 2 at each level. So, I'm pretty well equipped here. I could have gotten more hit points along the way, but we'll live with that. Alright. So to get to a place that I haven't been yet, I'm going to go this way. Oh, and now I'm facing this giant lizard. Now this is just a waste of time because he's not guarding any treasure. I'll put him to sleep, but I hate wasting that spell slot. In fact, I'm so close to the entrance, I'm just going to go back and reset. Alright. Dash through there, consult my map. Again, a waste of time. A level 1 man, I should be able to kill him with a... I shouldn't do this, but, you know, I'm not worried about fighting humanoids who are level 1 at the level that I'm at now. I didn't... no, I lost 5 hit points. So I probably shouldn't do that, but... Damn it. Level 4, man. So I can put him to sleep because he's only level 4. Hopefully we'll find a treasure chest in here. Okay, good. There's one guarded by a level 2 goblin. Goblin, because he's mortal, is susceptible to sleep. So as we discussed, anything level 4 or below, and it's not undead, if you have sleep, you use it. Guaranteed kill, only 60 gold pieces. Alright, so where am I? I still got 2 mage spells, so I'm good. Let's continue this way. 400 silver pieces, that's not very much. We'll go this way, and that way, nothing there. So notice that you don't have to step on every square. You just basically have to open the door to the room. And as long as you do that, you can see everything that's in the room. You don't actually have to walk in and explore every... and another waste of time, because he's just a random character in the door. Alright, at this point, so I'm going to enact protection. So that lasts for 27 rounds, but I'm about to bust down a few doors, so I might as well have it going. Nothing more annoying than that message. Come on. 30 gold pieces, it's treasure, but certainly not as much as I was looking for. Let's try up here. And over here. And down here. Okay, nothing there. I'm getting really far afield now. I don't like being this far away. Level 4 Medusa. Okay, I can put a level 4 Medusa to sleep. So again, the rule is level 4 or below, not undead, always sleep. Now, if it was a level 5 Medusa, I'd be going to my my cleric list, and I would probably use Dispel Myth. That works occasionally on mystical creatures like Medusas and wyverns and wyverns and so forth. But since it's level 4, I'm going to go with the sure thing and sleep. But unfortunately, now I'm out of first level magic spells, and I don't like having extended myself not too far as far as I have. So I'm going to head back. Oh, damn it, level 3 gargoyle. Okay, so now it's tough, right? So without those level 1 spells, hold only works on men and... Oh, gargoyle's a mystical creature, so I'll do Dispel Myth on that one. There we go. And alright, now I just need to hope I can get back without losing too many more resources, because I am deep into things right now. So we don't need to video all of this, but you get the idea. Oh, damn it. Level 4 white. Okay. Now this is a really tough one. So, lacking a level. I mean, not hardly anything works on undead is the problem. So I could cast the cleric spell Pray. That will ensure that I get the first attack. But at level 4, I think what I'm gonna do instead is cast the. Uh-oh. Something froze with P-term. Crashed. I don't know if it kept my character. Alright, let me try to get back in there. And look at that. I'm back in here and I've lost my character. So, yeah, I'm going to take a break for a couple of days now and resume this recording when I have a chance to shake that off. I've never had P-term be unstable on me like that before. Unbelievable. Huff. Notice that somebody, as a joke, has named a character M199H. So, all right. Well, let's pick it up again in a couple of days and see if I can bring this thing to a close. All right. Here I am a couple of days later, on the cusp of winning, maybe. Definitely in a precarious situation. So I just found some gems, and between the experience I have and the gems, I have enough to get the 20,000 experience points. And so I just need to make it back to the entrance. I'm reasonably far away from the entrance. So let's see. Now I'm in good shape. I've got still a mage spell at level 1, a mage spell at level 2, both my cleric spell levels. And as long as you have a mage spell level 2, you can cast Blast Bolt, which is a powerful spell. It really hurts a lot of things. It's a good Hail Mary. But it wipes away any other mage spell levels that you have. So it's, you got to be careful about casting it. But I've got at least one. So let's see if we can make it back to the entrance. Heading through rooms I've already explored. The only real danger here is from wandering monsters. Secret door there. This is a very familiar area. Not too far away now. And there's the exit. And that's the winning screen. All the monsters bow down to the character, and then I should end up on the Hall of Fame list at the top because I was the most recent person to win it. So I have to go back into and let's go to the Hall of Fame. And there I am at number 1. I don't know what happened with that number 2 spot, but that'll just keep getting shoved down until it finally disappears. Now, I have the least amount of experience of anybody who has won recently. So either those other players, they were probably close to 20,000 and then they found gems or jewelry that put them way over the cap. Or, less likely, they, even after getting over the cap, they still mucked around the dungeon a bit and tried to get a higher experience score. But once you cross 20,000 and leave, you have no choice. The game automatically ends it for you. And then it tells you how much of that experience was gold. So 24% of my experience came from kills rather than gold. as you can see, it ranges a lot, right? So Lacuna, whoever that was, when Lacuna won, it was with only 5% of the experience coming from kills. But Scott is really high at 28% of the experience coming from kills. I don't think I've ever seen more than 30%. If you could get 100% coming from kills, that would be quite a feat. But I don't think it would show really a lot of skill so much as a lot of patience. And that's what this game is about. This game is about patience. It's about just trusting that eventually your luck is going to turn, and you're going to find some treasure, and you won't get some horrific encounter. That last character that just won, throughout the entire game, and it was only about, I don't know, a half an hour probably of total gameplay that it took me to win it. But throughout that entire half hour, he never encountered a level 6 vampire or a level 6 dragon or something like that, which are essentially undefeatable really by any character. So you just have to have luck, and you have to have patience. Now, that said, remember, this is the first computer role-playing game. So we could have forgiven it if it were very, very basic, didn't maybe have any graphics at all, offered nothing but randomness in its combat, didn't have the full set of statistics that we have here. And these all do something, by the way. Strength determines the likelihood that you're going to hit a creature and the amount of damage that you do. Intelligence determines the likelihood that your spells are going to work. Constitution affects the number of hits, and it has a role in combat, basically. It helps reduce the amount of damage you take. And then dexterity helps determine if you strike first in combat. I think it also has something to do with the likelihood that you can flee from enemies, which I don't think I mentioned earlier, but you can't flee from enemies in rooms. So if I try to do run right now, there's no way it's going to work. But anyway, so you get the full set of statistics. You've got a variety of different enemies to fight that respond to different spells in different ways. You've got a few combat tactics. Really not much in the way of equipment. You only get one potential equipment upgrade, but still, it's a reasonably complex game for being the first computer role-playing game. Certainly, we saw, of course, this is written on a mainframe. We saw a lot of games written for the microcomputer when it became popular, starting in about 1977, 1978. We see a lot of games all the way through the mid-'80s, really, that are a lot simpler than the Dungeon here is for its time. So, as the first computer role-playing game, it's a very playable game. Yes, a lot depends on luck. Maybe too much depends on luck, but it's still a very playable game, and it's quite addictive. It keeps you going. So there's a lot of positive things that we can say about it. Now, another thing that we can say about it is that it's kind of the father of top-down, iconographic role-playing games. There would, let's get out of here. So, as I mentioned, later that year, after the Dungeon had been deleted by a system administrator, Orthink came along. That's the game that you see right here in front of me. And as you can see, it's a more complicated game. The combat actually happens in rounds. Okay. And you've got an encumbrance statistics. In addition to getting an upgrade with your sword, you can also get a shield and armor and some magical items. The spell system is a little bit more complicated. There's more enemies, but also some of the things you're seeing here on the screen are not with the original. Whoops. So that's some of the boots you can eventually find. I forgot how to get through door. There we go. Shift arrow goes through doors, and that's something that's very common in later games. Anyway, Some of the things you're seeing here, like the auto map, are not original to the 1975 version. They were programmed later on, but you can definitely see the dungeon influence on this Orthanc game. Then we have the game of Dungeons, also known by the file name D&D, which debuted later in 1975. We have a quest here to find an orb. This is the first known computer role-playing game in which the orb, some sort of orb, is the object that you're trying to find, and that's very, very common in early computer role-playing games. But I'll show you what this one looks like. Again, we have the secret name. I think you have to do something here. Okay, and so hey, I immediately found a magic shield. That's kind of cool. Okay, and a potion. I will quaff it. And there's an enemy that I've just defeated. Anyway, this is, it clearly has some DNA going back to the dungeon. And this, as I mentioned, was in progress. They were working on the coding for this before Rutherford's The Dungeon debuted, but this is a much more complicated game. It has, I think, 20 levels. Might be 40. I forget. I have to look at my own notes. But it's a much more complicated game, and it's got many more complicated rules when it comes to spells and which enemies are susceptible to which spells. So it's really a full-fledged computer role-playing game, again, and first released in 1975. This game, one of its players, Daniel Lawrence, took it and adapted it for the microcomputer as under a variety of names. Dungeons and Dragons, he first called it, but then other commercial versions were called Telengard, so you might have been exposed to Telengard at some point. All come from this line, and really, I shouldn't say every computer role-playing game that, from this point on, owes its allegiance to, or every top-down iconographic one owes its allegiance to the dungeon, because the whole world wasn't exposed to Plato. Only people who went to universities that were connected to Plato could have possibly been exposed to it. However, more commercialization of these games happened than you would have expected, given the fact that there was such limited exposure to it. So, for instance, I'm getting far afield from the game that I was covering right now, but if we go into Oubliette, for instance, either this or Future War, you can see how much more complicated character creation is here. So either this game or a later game called Future War was the first game to use 3D graphics like this. And this game directly inspired Wizardry, which in turn inspired Might and Magic, The Bard's Tale, Dungeon Master, and then the whole Dungeon Master line from that on. And we can trace that influence to players who were at the university who were exposed to this particular game. So Plato has had a long life. It doesn't look like Richard Garriott had ever was exposed to Plato. I can't find any evidence that he was. So the Ultima games, which also use that top-down iconographic interface, and they also use a first-person interface as well. They seem to be an example of congruent development. Basically, he came up with it on his own or from other games that weren't computer role-playing games that inspired him. But there's still a lot that we owe to Plato. So I'm glad I had a chance to walk you through the very first computer role-playing game. If you would like more analysis and commentary on computer role-playing games, please visit my blog at this address. Thank you very much for watching.